If you don't know me, I'm Noreen Taylor, Chair of the Charles Taylor Foundation, which, with RBC Wealth Management, stands behind the Taylor Prize. Today in the room, I'm joined by three trustees of the prize: Vijay Parmar, my beautiful stepdaughter Nadina Taylor, and longtime friend of the prize, co-creator with me, really from the earliest days, Michael Bradley. I think about the best way of starting a new year off is discussing what makes a book exceptional as compared to just really a good book. And since we're all here to do that today, this is the perfect way to start a new year. But first I have to speak about members of the 2017 jury. John English is on the jury and he is ill today, so I can brag about him as much as possible. He was joined by Anne McMillan and Colin McAdam, and together these three remarkable jurors read 101 books written by Canadians and permanent residents of Canada and published by publishers, Canadian publishers all across this country and from large and small firms. In December, they narrowed this down to a short list of 12 books, and what a short list it was. But before going on and on about these books, I now have to have the happy task of introducing Vijay Parmar, who, as I mentioned, is a trustee of the Charles Taylor Foundation, and he's also president of PH&N Investment Council. RBC has been our wonderful partner for these many years, and I know Vijay, like me, had a reading list in December, and I haven't been able to speak with Vijay about his reading, so I hope I'll hear something about that and get a clue of what the jury might think in a few minutes. But now it's time to ask Vijay to come and take over.
Thank you so much, Noreen. Good morning, everyone. I believe I too had a weight restriction when I was carrying all the luggage back to Vancouver for the holidays, but welcome to all of you this morning. It's my distinct pleasure to welcome you here for this morning's announcement of the RBC Taylor Prize shortlist. This is the 16th year that the RBC Taylor Prize will commemorate the life and work of the late Charles Taylor, one of Canada's leading literary non-fiction writers. Awarded annually to the author whose book best combines a superb command of the English language, an elegance of style, and a subtlety of thought and perception, this prestigious prize recognizes excellence in Canadian non-fiction writing and emphasizes the development of the careers of the authors it celebrates. Once again, the 12 books that make up this year's long list are quite diverse in subject matter. However, all represent the finest in literary excellence, which only makes our jury's task of deriving this year's shortlist so much more difficult. With that said, I'd like to take a moment to thank the members of this year's RBC Taylor Prize jury for their hard work. We appreciate the time and the effort that you spent to finalize this year's shortlist from such an incredible long list. And as always, Noreen, I would like to thank you and recognize you for the important role in the arts and culture that you play in helping to build a vibrant community and strong Canada. RBC Wealth Management is so very proud to be the presenting sponsor of the RBC Taylor Prize, and we're honored with our partnership with the Charles Taylor Foundation and its efforts to recognize excellence among Canadian nonfiction writers. Good luck to all 12 of our finalists, and I look forward to another exciting year with the RBC Taylor Prize. Thank you.
Months ago, I spoke to you about my enthusiasm for this jury and the long list they created. Every time I read a book and I'd put one down, I'd go, what an amazing jury, what a great book. And then I thought of who they were, and I thought, you idiot, this is why you put them together. We had John English, who, if I read all the awards he's won for his biographical and other writing, you'd be here all day, so can't do that. But John wrote two books that were each shortlisted for the RBC Taylor Prize, his two-volume biography of Pierre Elliott Trudeau, And that was not the only Prime Minister he wrote about. He also wrote a 2-volume biography of Lester B. Pearson. John is a compassionate, caring Canadian. And I think he exemplifies the kind of person we really want, not only speaking to us about the needs of this country, but about the kinds of issues we need to face. It is not surprising that John is a distinguished visiting professor at the Canadian Forces College, or that he is a director, and I'll read this, the Bill Graham Centre for Canadian Contemporary International History at Trinity College. So, an acclaimed biographer, and now a broadcaster. Anne McMillan is, how do I say this? She is a prototype broadcaster, one of the few in this country. She was the first woman journalist for Global Television. She left that position, went to CBC, where she worked for both CBC Radio and Television in London, eventually rising to become the London bureau chief. Anne is in the midst of writing a book right now. But I have to say, anybody who watched the coverage that Anne gave for years and years know that she's one of the few Canadians who is capable of discerning with experience and wisdom what makes a story worthwhile telling and what makes it compelling. And if we've watched her broadcast, we know she can do that. And then we've got an acclaimed biographer, a revered journalist, and now Colin McAdam, a prize-winning novelist. Colin is someone, I can speak to Colin and make it embarrassed. He is somebody who has the ability to weave a tale and make the reader get involved in the characters he's reading and the plights that they're facing. The word I kept coming up with as I thought about Colin is he's an alchemist. He has the rare ability to take facts off a dusty page and render them into characters we can never forget. A number of years ago, I read his prize-winning book, A Beautiful Truth, and to this day, I can tell you all the characters, the story of this family, which is a love story that goes awry, and it is without any question that it would have been signaled to have been the prize-winning book for the Rogers Writers Trust that year. As I said, Colin is an alchemist. This is what writers search for. He's got the Holy Grail.
I'll take alchemist. I thought I was an alcoholic, but it's an honor to be here. I was delighted to be invited to do this. I couldn't pass up the opportunity to see what's being written in nonfiction. And I was amazed by a lot of it. I'm normally on the other side of this adjudication process, normally the one sort of holding my books and wondering why juries have arrogated themselves to this position of judging my work. And I think of opinions and I feel the need to remind those on the long list that these are only opinions of three little people. If I can quote an obscure author on opinions, he said, "Opinions are like sperm. There are way too many of them, most amount to nothing, and they're more fun to deliver than to receive." It's probably too early for a sperm joke. But I would like to add my congratulations to the long-listed authors and my thanks for these amazing reads. They were beacons. You know, we're lost in a deep and dark sea of a lot of books, and all of the books on the long list were beacons to us. And as a reader, I thank the writers for enlightening me and surprising me and making me appropriately angry on occasion and opening my mind. So congratulations again to everyone, and thank you. So in alphabetical order, these are the shortlisted books for this year's prize. By Chance Alone, a remarkable true story of courage and survival at Auschwitz by Max Eisen, published by HarperCollins Canada. On a spring morning in 1944, after his family's Passover Seder, 15-year-old Max Eisen and his family were thrust upon an inescapable path to Auschwitz. Nearly all of his family died, but courage and chance allowed Max to survive and write this remarkable memoir. By Chance Alone is depressing. It induces the incredulity and anger one expects from a memoir of the Holocaust. Yet the book possesses unique power that comes from its candor, its lack of pretension, its spare prose, and the author's sharp memory. And I should just step in for a moment and say, this prize is partly structured as a reward for command of the English language. And as a novelist, if I had Mr. Eisen's ability to let language get out of the way and have events speak for themselves, I would be very proud. One surprise is Eisen's description of how hard it was for him to endure the years after the war under communist rule before he finally found his home in Toronto. A compelling book, By Chance Alone, recalls in direct and measured language how one young man confronted horrible atrocities and personal grief. It reminds us how fragile the world we know is and how terrifying its breakup can be. The second book is Pumpkin Flowers, an Israeli soldier's story by Maddie Friedman, published by Signal, McClellan and Stewart. The most refreshing thing about Pumpkin Flowers is that, unlike so many books about the Middle East, it is not a polemic. Maddie Friedman succeeds in painting an intimate and honest picture of the lives of Israeli soldiers serving in a camp on the Lebanese border. Using the microcosm of this tiny outpost, the author exposes the agony of ordinary soldiers trapped in a conflict they do not understand, an ordeal that he himself shares when he's posted to this very exposed spot. And one thing that stood out for me with this book is that it, as much as anything, it's a story of a time of life, of young men coming into their own identity and how they struggle with authority and find their place. And I think it has really broad appeal in those terms. His keen eye for detail, masterly writing style, and his balanced journalistic approach provide a gripping account of a moment in history that would otherwise have been forgotten. The third book is Mad Enchantment, Claude Monet and the Painting of Water Lilies by Ross King, published by Bond Street Books. Of the book, the jury writes, Claude Monet's Water Lilies in the Orangerie des Tuileries rank among the greatest masterpieces of world art. Their creation came late in Monet's life when cataracts marred his sight, death struck his wife and son, and war raged close to his lily ponds at Giverny. Ross King brilliantly captures the furies of Monet and the enormous challenges he overcame in painting the 22 panels of lilies that surround the Orangerie. An exceptional art historian, King grasps the political tempests of wartime France, and his portrait of Monet's close friend, French Prime Minister Georges Clemenceau, will be essential reading for all who want to understand the intersection of politics, nationalism, and culture in France during the First World War. And that portrait of Clemenceau was really one of the highlights for us all. I think he emerged as this really quite funny and three-dimensional, surprising character, and it gave a lot of extra depth to what was already a very deep treatment of these paintings. In this elegantly written and superbly researched book, Ross King illuminates water lilies and Monet as no one has before. The fourth book is Marconi, The Man Who Networked the World by Mark Roboy, published by Oxford University Press. The world was getting smaller. This is what Mark Roboy observes of Marconi's first wireless transmission across the English Channel. Whether it made the world small or infinitely more complex, Marconi's role in the invention of wireless communication has arguably shaped human culture as powerfully as the wheel, the word, and fire. With impressive archival research and a broad understanding of history, Mark Roboy has given life to the man who gave us the ability to talk across oceans, and who is ultimately responsible for this networked world of distant intimacies and Twitter revolutions. Marconi defied most labels and boundaries: an Italian, an Irish Englishman, a liberal fascist, and an inventor who borrowed from others. Mark Roboy presents all aspects of Marconi's life in this thorough and revealing biography, and he has given flesh to the ghost who drifts through every phone, radio, TV, and yearning computer. It's an amazing book and a thorough book, and for me, it certainly did bring to life the person behind these airwaves that are really dictating our lives, and it's a great read. This is not only it's also the best-looking book on it, I have to say. It's a very cool cover. This is not only an indispensable reference for students of communication, it is a landmark in understanding how our world has been shaped by our tools. The final book on the list is This Is Not My Life, a memoir of love, prison, and other complications by Diane Schomperlin, published by HarperCollins Canada. Diane Schomperlin's skillful conversational writing takes the reader on a harrowing journey through hope and happiness to heartbreak. The brutally honest way she describes her love affair with a prisoner serving time for second-degree murder is remarkable. In understated but compelling prose, she apportions blame for the failed relationship equally, chronicling her own faults as well as those of her lover. It also has one of the funniest beginnings of any of the books that we had to read this year. I encourage you to read it just for that, and then you won't be able to put it down. This compelling tale of ill-fated love, told with humor as well as humility, is also a powerful indictment of the prison system in Canada. So that's it. Thank you very much.
For the writers and their publishers who developed these books with them, congratulations for your finalists. This is very exciting. I must confess I haven't read Marconi. It's about this thick. It didn't travel with me to England. My weight would not take that. So, what's going to happen now? Obviously, I have to read Marconi. But everybody else at the prize has been dealing with the 12 and reading that. We're going to be now rereading these 5. Is it 5? 5. And I know that Colin and John and Anna are going to be doing the same. Stephen Weir, our incomparable publicist, and Sue Hutchinson, who is the able administrator of the prize, will be contacting the publishers and their publicists of these authors, the finalists, in very short order, and be telling them that the next 7 weeks of their life are going to be interesting. I was joking with Ben because I didn't know whether Matty Friedman lived in Jerusalem or Toronto, and so we might be flying Matty in from Jerusalem and Ross in from London, and let's hope Air Canada and British Airways does comply. But I know that in the next 7 weeks they're going to be meeting their public. They're going to be online, they're going to be on air, they're going to be on mic, in print, and on camera. Our research shows that there is not a person living in this country who is capable of receiving media who is not going to be able to know about the RBC Taylor Prize finalists. And that's saying something. And that is only possible because our media partners believe in our commitment to nonfiction writing and its importance for all Canadians to make informed decisions as we go forward in this wonderful country we have.